goal setting and affirmations. I've been using athletics for 1,000 years. Yeah.
Do you know Khabib, the guy who beat my...
Yes, I know.
You know, he was a couple of months ago, he was asked a question, do you like Netflix? Do you know what he answered? He said, who is Netflix?
Yeah, I believe. Well, when I saw that kid when he was 9 years old wrestle a bear, it's online, wrestle a bear. I mean, I said this, because I saw that 20 years ago, okay? Or maybe not 15 years ago. So yeah, but I know these guys, they're isolated. They don't have outside activities. They just don't. And the most successful kids through this program don't have outside activities. Although I tell you 3 to 4 or 5 times a week, you should exercise at some level, but I'm talking about 45 minutes to maybe an hour and a half. And you should have cardio in there. And if you get a treadmill and you put it under your desk, the fattest person in this room will, at the end of 90 days will be, slim and trim. Now, I'm not talking about 6-8% body fat bullshit, but I mean, you'll lose 20 pounds. You'll lose 20 pounds. And not everybody needs 20 pounds, but certainly a number of you need 20 pounds. Okay, what are the takeaways from Tan? Other than he's a gangbanger that got caught with it wasn't a stray bullet, they were aiming at him, but anyway.
He was mentioning that fancy clubs that are in...
Okay, let's stop there. I tell, and this is in the book on my site, to join a club that you can't afford. Okay? For some of you, that'll be a golf club. Doesn't have to be. Some of it will be a tennis club. For example, if you can get into the Los Angeles Tennis Club in Los Angeles, I mean, everybody that's anybody that ever, belongs there. And not necessarily because they play tennis. I belong to the Jonathan Club in Los Angeles. It's one of the premier clubs in the country. And when you join these clubs, almost all the clubs have memberships because club memberships are declining. Okay? Because now the millennials don't necessarily want to belong to clubs. And the people younger than the millennials want to go someplace else. So they have membership drives even at my club. If you're 40 years old or less, you pay a certain amount. If you're 30 years old or less, you pay a certain amount, which is all a lot less than the regular amount. And they give you payment programs to pay it over 5, 10, 20 years, whatever it is. But when you get, and many of the clubs, you have to have a sponsor. You tell them, I don't have anybody that belongs to this club, and they will find sponsors for you. My particular club, I think you need 4 or 5 sponsors. And when you join the clubs and when you become a member, you get 2 committees. One is the membership committee, because then you get to see everybody that's, is anybody. And 2 is the finance committee. Not the Christmas party committee, not the fucking yearly golf outing. That's all horseshit. And you will find, and there are clubs every place. There's clubs every place. There was another question about Tan. Yeah.
Not a question, just observation that he was learning as he was going. Like he'll meet with the bankers and or the insurance or whatever, and they'll come up with some terms, and he'll develop his language more.
Well, no, you don't have to do that. That's his insecurity. You don't have to know what the difference between assurance and insurance is. You don't have to know what discounted cash flow. You don't have to know how to figure out what discounted cash flow is. And that's what, but you will go look. In the templates, it doesn't say to go look at that shit up. But you can't help yourself. You can't help yourself. And that all takes time. And then for some of you, not just you, but the kids on YouTube, you're going to want to have time to assimilate it. Understand it. You might as well just blow your brains out then. You came to the wrong place. You wasted your money. You didn't waste your money. It'll take you 10 years to do a quantum leap. And by your mediocre standards, with no self-esteem, that's okay. For mine, it's a waste of my time. I could put somebody else in your seat. I used to give these seminars for free. fucking free. Free. In Los Angeles, at the Los Angeles International Airport. The big hotels there, I'd rent out 1,500 room. I'd even feed you for free. And that's why the product is all free. I went from the most expensive product online, $5,000 for a disc, to free. And we don't sell any, and we don't have T-shirts and baseball hats and fucking coffee cups and what else do they sell? Jesus.
Wristband.
What?
Wristband.
Yeah. Oh, they sell these? Yeah. Oh, you got one, didn't you? They weren't passed out yet to you, right? Okay, yeah, you're gonna get one anyway. I'm in bed. Okay, when the guys that you know, we're gonna have a Christmas sale, 50% off. Valentine's sale, 50% off. What was the product worth the day before? Most of the product that's being sold online vis-a-vis wealth creation is not only worthless, it's detrimental to your ability to create generational wealth. Because it sends you down the wrong paths. Some of you have already been down the wrong path. Some of you have already tried to do roll-ups. Wrong. Not wrong that you should try a roll-up, but not in the QLA model. What else about, yes ma'am?
I noticed that he mentioned after Dream Team, it feels the bankers and the accounting firm was easier. My question is to you.
The Dream Team is the easiest part. Just because you've never talked to the former CEO of Bank of America, Western Division, because Bank of America is split up into divisions, just because, doesn't mean, there's nobody special. And on top of it, almost all of them are poor. Why would a former CEO of a $10 billion company want to talk to you? What, pray tell? What value are you going to add in, not the QLA scheme, but in the normal scheme of life? What are you going to add to a $10 billion CEO that grew it from 3 to 10 billion over 15, 20 years? Zero. And the challenge is that no matter how efficient you are in building the team, you're going to be the weak link. Even no matter how inefficient you are building the dream team, you're going to be the weak link. You're going to be the weak link. Now, if Doc decides to roll up some kind of whatever, in bedpans, he's a weak link. And just being Doc, he's not a weak link, okay? By the way, women and doctors have it easier. All for all the wrong reasons. They give you the benefit of the doubt wrongfully. Doesn't matter but if you're doing a medical deal. Now, if you're doing astrophysics, that's something else. But if you're doing a medical deal, they just, as you're going to hear Dr. Joe here tomorrow, whenever it is, it doesn't matter. But you are the weak link, and that's why we stress, and I continue to stress, that you don't have a meeting with your dream team until there's something to talk about, i.e. you have deals to talk about, you're going to appoint your accountants, you're going to appoint your lawyers, and then you confuse them because there's a lot of things to decide on and they don't look at you as the weak link. Now, even sometimes we've had people lose control of their companies because, and the reason why at the end, even at an exit, you may still have 55, 60% of the value of the enterprise, and the other directors, that means they're split up. They've splitting up to 30, 35%. And occasionally we have problems where they want to have a mutiny, and it happens. But it happens. But in the back of their mind, why is the kid that has no experience in this, that has done no deals, getting 60% of the money?
Because he's finding the money in the deals.
Huh? They don't care. They don't care. That's part of the right reason, but they don't care. Some of them will feel like you fucked them. Even though you're putting money in their pocket, You trick fucked them because you got 62% and they got 2%. And we've had cases, too few to mention, where, it ends poorly for the kids. Because at any given time, anybody on your board can kill any deal you're in. 100%. And no matter what you say, you're not going to convince the seller and or the financial, if it's a commercial bank. When the former deputy chairman of fuck all says, we didn't want to tell you, but the word is on so-and-so, the deal's dead. Or when they go to the seller and they say that you really can't finance. Shit like that happens. It's called jealousy and greed. So don't, no matter how high and lofty and how extended your brain gets from doing these deals, you're still the weakest link. And just like the program used to be on TV, the weakest link, can be broken. That's why 1 deal, 2 deals, 3 deals, 5 deals, until you get an enterprise value of 20, 25 million, then you've got 3 or 4 or 5 million of your money in the game, skin in the game. Then you're not the weakest link. You're the biggest shareholder. You're always going to be the biggest shareholder, but you might not be the biggest equity holder. The biggest equity holder, meaning the person that the equity of the deals has migrated to them because they have 60, 65, or whatever percent is. It's by definition. And many of the board directors, many of your dream team will be happy as Larry getting 2, 3%, and you have no problems. No problems. But people that are problems at the beginning, when there's nothing to cut up, will be massive hemorrhoids down the road when you have some assets to cut up. So Tan hasn't done his first deal. He's well on his way. That was the July group he was talking to, who had the 73-day guy and the 81-day guy, like I said jokingly, it's not jokingly. I mean, we went back and checked the menu. What the fuck we fed him? But every 2 or 3 years, we have one group, and sometimes we have 2 in a year, that for whatever reason it all gelled. It all gelled, and all the things fell into place. And when it gels, then normally we have a bunch in the seminar group. 5, 6, 7, 8. That I'm not saying the others aren't successful, but they get it quick. Because this program, as he said, what are you going to do when you exit? He says, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. For the kids in their middle to late 20s, you can do this 5 or 6 times in your lifetime. For those of you that are in your late 40s, you can do this 2 or 3 times in your lifetime. In other words, buy, roll up, exit. Start, roll up, exit. You can do that. And if you average 4 or 5 years, because you're not the slowest at 7 years, you're not the quickest at 3 years, just say you average 5 years, it's easy to do this 5, 6 times over the next 25, 30 years for the younger guys. Now, based on your goals and what you put down for goals, I think we had 2 people that said that they wanted to be a billionaire. We had 1 that said he wanted to be a trillionaire, which I'm not making fun of the trillionaire guy. I'm not making fun of that, but but their other goals are not consistent with being a billionaire. See, you think just, not after you leave here, you won't. Most people think that, you make $1 billion and, life goes on. Well, life goes on, but in a completely different way. A completely different way. And, and it's not, you make $1 billion, you don't, well, some people have, run off to the Himalayas, and, we have a guy from the Hall of Shame, a guy that, took 10 million pounds, and, ran off to the Himalayas, Tibet. He's a monk, supposedly. He's a monk. Or monk, as Sally would say, like in monkfish.
He stole.
Huh?
He stole.
Yeah, so. He's not the only one. We got a bunch of people that stolen money up there. Dutch people are the crookedest. Dutch, yep. No. No, because they tell you see, the difference between a Dutchman and a Russian, the Russian says, I'm going to fuck you and this is how I'm going to fuck you. A Dutchman says, you're my best friend, and then he fucks you. That's the difference. And there's no ethnicity, whether you're a Buddhist, a Muslim, a Catholic, a Protestant, it doesn't matter. They're all the same. In the rules of life and money, they're all the same. Doesn't make a shit what your religion is. Although Captain America is a 5-prayer-a-day Muslim. And Josh came as a Bible thumper. Comes out of Bible thumpers. Religious. I think I don't forget what they are. Okay, so Tan construction works with his hands. So we've had, who do we have this morning? Margot, who's a successful gal, but and it is easier for gals. Okay, any questions about Tan? Yes, ma'am.
So do you suggest us to investigate the CFO?
Well, we're not at that part yet, but I mean, for example, let's use a real bizarre example. The guy who just they found him dead in his cell, the pedophile guy, what's his name? Epstein. Let's just say Epstein wasn't that pedophile guy on the news. Typing Epstein lawsuit, Epstein fraud, Epstein sex. You would have caught what he had been convicted 12 or 14 years ago for. So whoever you're looking at, because I've never seen a business plan fail on paper. I've never seen a resume fail on paper. If they're 70 or 80% as good as their resume, I'd be happy, but they're not. People are normally half as good as their resume. Half. Because maybe half smoke, but anyway, they're roughly half, okay. So when you put in Dr. John Jones, and you're in down where he's from, and you put lawsuit, and then, and you got 9 pages of lawsuits, I won't even read the lawsuits. Next. It's like if you're an unindicted co-conspirator. Just means you had a smart lawyer. Yeah, unindicted. Well, that you should have been indicted, or they may have run out of time, or the budget for the thing may. But any of those kind of marks will keep you from getting the finance, and that's why you don't want them, and that's why you ask them. But they still lie. So that's why now you won't do this, but then let's say she says she's clean, okay? And I punch her name out and it says, whatever it says about her, she's a child trafficker. Yeah, but it was 35 years ago. Well, and so I thought there was nothing in your background. And she said, well, it was 35 years ago. If it was 300 years ago, it still matters. And you kids that have had your records expunged, they tell you that bullshit. I did this. We had an attempted murder here a while back, and they said that his record was expunged. I said, no, it's not. Expunged means the government is going to seal it or get rid of it because you were only 17 years old when you did it. Murder, rape, larceny never get expunged. And your lawyer is lying to you. Drunk driving gets expunged. Driving without a driver's license gets expunged. Buying liquor as a minor, like I did, gets expunged. Me beating up a cop never got expunged.
Taxes?
Huh? Taxes don't get expunged. So what I'm telling you, your board has to be as clean as a hound's tooth. As clean as a hound's tooth. And for those of you that are Asian, you don't want but one other Asian on the board. For those of you that are black, you only want one other black on the board. For those of you that are Muslim, praise Allah. I mean, you only want other fucking Muslim on the board. And nobody you know or have ever done business with is on the board. Yes, sir.
What about referrals from people you know? Like if you know someone who knows the CEO or a retiring CFO of a company, or is that too close to home? So
That's still too close to home because it's not yours. And when the chairman comes in and says, I can bring a CEO and a CFO, next. And the funny thing about it is, I still will get remarks on the weekly reports, but when they always start with but this is different, and they try to explain to me, why it's different. My dad and his father fenced at Princeton together. Now, I'm not making fun of fencing, but we crewed at Harvard together. It's unbelievable. And in this country, it's still, even though they say the class system died, boy, it's alive and well in this fucking country, the UK. Where you went to school, now there are people that have broken through, so to speak, but if you went to Cambridge, if you went to Eton in Cambridge or Eton in Oxford, you're in. Unless they catch you fucking a dog in the parking lot or something, you're in. That's it. Now, what are you into? You're into, your first job is going to be 80 grand, and your next job, and you'll be making, by the time you're 40 years old, you're making 300 grand. And for most people, that's in. That's in. But and we don't have anybody in this group that's really young enough, but normally the kids, and you're going to hear some of the young kids, how they respond to them being asked about their age. Now, Churchill, because he looks 35 years old, even though he's only 17, nobody asked him about his age. They don't ask him. And, but the other kids that we've got, they look much younger. They do. They ask. Now, did I answer your question? Did I answer your question? Okay. Remember, you want this board to be your board, your dream team. There because of your vision, because of your passion, because of your enthusiasm. Now, Tan wasn't not enthusiastic, but if you had seen him before, how he used to sound, but most of the guys and gals go to Toastmasters. I tell you, go to Toastmasters. I tell you to go to improvisation, where they take you and they say, this is a bar of gold, sell it to me, that kind of thing. Some of the kids, many of the kids actually have been very successful in Toastmasters. And it gives you, if you haven't ever spoke publicly, it gives you a whole different frame of thought when you're, like when Tan was saying he's lining these banks up. And part of the interviewing process is, you line them up. You want them to know that's a beauty contest. And occasionally you'll be asked, is this a beauty contest? And you'll say no. Okay, a beauty contest has bad connotations. Okay? One of the ones a beauty contest is the one that sucks your dick. So no, this is hardly a beauty contest. We're looking to see where synergy might be or might not. We don't want to waste your time, and we don't want to waste our own. But the line that he said when he puts them back on their back foot, when he said, that's premature. We're looking to see if there's any potential relationship. They will be flabbergasted. They will start sweating. They will excuse themselves to go get water. And some of you will you'll feel sorry for them, and you won't be able to do that. There's several levels of pleasers. There's a pleaser that will do anything to make sure the person likes them, and then there's varying degrees. But in no way, shape, manner, or form, today, in the last several years, and I can't recall beyond the last several years, have we had anybody that's been super successful that was a pleaser. They may have started out a pleaser, as Margot said, and then she got tough. But the toughest person that's ever come through the seminar isn't the sweat that rolled off my fucking balls when I took a shower this morning. The toughest that's ever come through here. All you need, you don't even need, 5% of me is $1 billion. 1% of me is you make 100 million. I could sign a deal today. 100 million, never mention my name again. 100 million, never mention my name, and don't use QLA. Most people would take the 100 million. You say billion, I want billion. That's a lot of fucking zeros. But you're going to have the tools by the time you leave here when you have the little thumb drive. Okay. So who's next? Oh.